My fiancé's prenup was supposed to protect our future, but it's making me feel like a stranger in my own relationship. I, 28 ma'am, and my fiancé, 29 ma'am, had the finances talk earlier today, and I feel confused and upset about his proposal for a prenup. We are both software engineers, but we have a major income and asset gap. I am blessed to earn a FA salary. However, my fiancé has a lot more saved, both due to higher earnings and because he didn't have student loans. More recently, his startup equity became very valuable, on the order of many millions and likely to be liquid soon. We have been together 8 years, since college, and I felt like everything we had was already ours, even though we weren't married yet. We bought a house together, for example. He told me that he wants to share all of our finances, but he asked for a prenup that separates all premarital assets, such as his equity, and would also separate future earnings and assets according to the ratio of our income. I feel deeply confused and upset. Is it fair to question the point of getting married at all? I brought this up and he told me he wants to marry me for reasons more important than money, and he's just planning for the worst. But I can't shake the feeling that we'd achieve the same goal by remaining unwed. I felt secure in his prosperity, and I was gearing up to take a major career risk, joining a startup. But now I feel vulnerable, like I need to worry about protecting myself. I tried to explain my feelings, and he told me he needs to think more about what he wants. I need to figure out where to go from here. I know getting a prenup is the responsible thing to do, but I just can't shake the feeling that he's hedging his bets. Am I greedy for wanting a prenup that's more generous to me? After all, I certainly make plenty of money and don't need his. Why does this make me feel so insecure about our relationship? Partner since college wants a prenup that separates everything, including future earnings. I feel very upset and insecure, but I'm not sure whether these feelings are greedy. Update 1. Hey everyone. I wanted to thank you all for the advice and support on my original post. It really helped me organize my thoughts and figure out how I wanted to approach this situation with my fiancé. After reading through the comments and some deep reflection, I realized that I needed to have a more honest conversation with him, not just about the prenup, but about our relationship and future together. So, we sat down and had a long talk. I started by telling him how much his proposal hurt me and that it made me feel like he didn't trust me or value our partnership in the same way I did. I explained that, while I understood his desire to protect his assets, it felt like he was planning for our failure rather than our success. He listened carefully and then explained his side. He said that the prenup wasn't about not trusting me or not believing in our relationship, but about being realistic. He's seen friends go through nasty breakups where finances became a huge battleground, and he didn't want that for us. He also admitted that his startup success had made him more cautious because there's a lot at stake now, and he doesn't want to risk losing what he's worked so hard for. I could see where he was coming from, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. So I asked him point blank if there was something else going on that he wasn't telling me. He hesitated and then dropped a bombshell. He's been feeling a lot of pressure from his family about the prenup. His parents are old school, and they've been pushing him to protect his assets, especially since they helped fund his startup in the early days. This was news to me. I didn't realize how much influence his parents still had over his decisions. It made me wonder if this prenup was really about what he wanted, or if it was more about what they wanted. I told him that while I respected his relationship with his parents, our marriage should be about what's best for us, not them. He agreed, but I could tell he was torn. We left the conversation with the understanding that we needed to revisit the prenup with a lawyer who could help us create something that felt fair to both of us. He also promised to talk to his parents and make it clear that this was our decision, not theirs. I'm feeling a bit more hopeful now, but also wary. I love my fiancé, but I'm starting to see that there are more layers to this situation than I initially realized. I'll update you all once we've had a... Update 2. Hey Reddit, it's been a few weeks since my last update, and things have taken a turn I didn't quite expect. We met with a lawyer, and it was a pretty eye-opening experience. The lawyer was very professional and explained all the different ways we could structure the prenup. But as we went through the process, I started to realize just how much my fiancé was holding on to his assets, almost like a lifeline. It wasn't just about protecting his wealth, it was about maintaining a certain level of control. During the meeting, the lawyer asked us to list all our assets and debts, and my fiancé was very thorough with his. When it came to me, I listed my savings, 401k, and the house we bought together. But then my fiancé brought up something I hadn't even considered, the fact that his name is on the deed, but so is mine. He wanted to discuss what would happen to the house if we split, which caught me off guard. I thought we were on the same page about the house being ours, but he seemed to think of it more as his because he had contributed more to the down payment. This led to a heated discussion, and I couldn't help but feel like this was about more than just finances. It felt like he was trying to maintain a power dynamic where he had the upper hand. I brought this up, and he got defensive, saying it was just practical to think about these things. But to me, it felt like he was trying to safeguard himself at my expense. After the meeting, things were tense between us. We didn't talk much for a few days, and I started to really question whether we were on the same page about our future. I love him, but I couldn't help but wonder if this prenup was revealing deeper issues in our relationship. A few nights ago, I decided to confront him again. I told him that I felt like this prenup was more about control than protection, and that I needed to know if he was really committed to our partnership, or if he was just trying to protect himself. He got quiet, and then he admitted something that shook me to my core. He said that part of the reason he was so insistent on the prenup was because he wasn't sure if I was with him for the right reasons. He knew I wasn't after his money, but he couldn't shake the fear that I might one day leave him, and he wanted to make sure he'd be okay if that happened. It was like he was expecting me to break his heart, and this prenup was his way of protecting himself from that possibility. I was stunned. I never thought he'd doubt my intentions or our relationship like this. It made me question everything. If he doesn't trust me, how can we move forward? How can we build a life together if he's always waiting for the other shoe to drop? We ended the conversation without any clear resolution. He apologized and said he needed time to think, but now I'm left wondering if we're really meant to be together. This prenup has opened up a can of worms I didn't even know existed, and I'm not sure where we go from here. I'll update again when I have more to share. Right now, I'm just trying to process everything and figure out what I want. Update 3. Hey everyone, I'm back with what will probably be my final update. Things have taken a pretty dramatic turn, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything that's happened. After my last update, my fiancé and I spent a lot of time apart. He stayed at a friend's place for a few days, and I used that time to really think about what I wanted. I love him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this prenup and everything surrounding it was a sign of deeper issues in our relationship. I kept asking myself, do I want to marry someone who doesn't trust me? Can I build a life with someone who's more focused on protecting himself than on building a future together? When he came back, we had one final conversation. I told him that I loved him, but I couldn't marry him under these circumstances. I said that I needed a partner who was all in, who trusted me completely, and who was willing to take risks with me. I didn't want to start our marriage with a document that felt more like a safeguard against our failure than a commitment to our success. He was quiet for a long time, and then he said something that completely floored me. He told me that he had been in therapy for a while, something he hadn't shared with me before. He'd been working through some deep-seated issues around trust and abandonment, and the prenup was a manifestation of those fears. He admitted that he was terrified of being vulnerable, and that the prenup was his way of trying to maintain some control in a situation where he felt incredibly exposed. I was shocked. I had no idea he was going through all of this. It made sense, though, and it explained a lot about his behavior over the past few months. He told me that he realized he needed to work on himself before he could fully commit to our relationship. He apologized for putting me through all of this and said that he didn't want to lose me, but he also didn't want to drag me into his personal struggles. I didn't know what to say. I felt heartbroken, but at the same time, I admired his honesty and self-awareness. We talked for a long time, and by the end of it, we both agreed that we needed to take a step back. We decided to postpone the wedding and focus on ourselves for a while. He's going to continue with therapy, and I'm going to take some time to figure out what I want and need from a relationship. This wasn't the outcome I expected, and it's been incredibly painful, but I think it's the right decision for both of us. I still love him, and I hope that we can find our way back to each other when we're both in a better place. But for now, we're putting our relationship on pause. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm trying to stay hopeful. Thank you all for your support and advice throughout this journey. It's been a roller coaster, but I've learned a lot about myself and what I want in a relationship. I guess that's the silver lining in all of this. Take care, everyone.